But today we're going to have a demonstration of telegraphy, what Francis Grant did for 8 years. I couldn't believe that it was that long. We have Bob Foote here and Murray Reeves, who's the director of the museum, and Albert McKinnon, who was the telegrapher too. And I see you here. Adrian here?
Yeah, Adrian's there.
Adrian Hunter's another.
And Jerry.
And Jerry Langell is another telegrapher. And Harry Thompson's a CN man. So we've got quite a few railway people here. We've got it set up in the hallway here. So I don't know how we're gonna have to go from one room to another room and send messages back and forth if you want to see it. We've got this. The Morse code is quite a. I guess I should leave it to somebody else to talk about.
Go ahead.
Hey, a ticket punch. Murray and I were talking about that. Each conductor on the passenger train, when he's checking his train out, he'd get a ticket punch. That ticket punch is very unique. Each ticket punch had a different symbol. This one here has a kind of a wiggly shape to it. So as when that ticket was punched and was returned to the odd office in Montreal, they could trace it back to that ticket punch and look in the book to see which conductor actually received the ticket. Things like that is very unique. Murray found this dater. What's the story in that, Murray?
Well, I found it in the old station of Ballygash in some garbage, and it says the Britain Railroad, Point Topper, and its dates on it from 1902 to 1913.
So it's getting pretty hard to light the lanterns. At night there's no electricity up there. And I only have two. You'd have a clear, a red, a yellow, and a green for different symbols for the trains. And that was a must. I want to start checking to see if they were lit. But
What did the clear mean?
well, that's just for giving signals. You'd wave to a train. They weren't supposed to pass at night unless they got an okay from the operator on duty. And those little lanterns are sort of unique. There's the oil in the base in a wick. It's all a wick in the base. And you can turn them upside down, the oil won't run out. So you can swing them over your head, which is backup, or a big high ball when they're approaching the station. Otherwise, if you're sleeping, the train would stop, and then there'd be the questions.
Bob told me the other day that we were counting up the number of places he had worked. He worked in over 21. Murray worked in over 13. How many did you work at? Different. I suppose
Never counted them up.
It works in all of it.
Albert worked in all because he's relief agent for a number of years.
And how did you work, Adrian?
About 12.
About 20? Yeah.
12. 12.
12.
Too long in one station.
Well, they were just naming them off. It's amazing how many times they changed.
That little fellow?
Francis grandson, I don't know if you know him, but he just came in and we.
Yeah.
This is Francis Day. You missed the story we were just telling about your father, but we're on the railway now.
Yeah, that's good.
When your mother and dad were married, we had that. So.
Yep. The train crash. They were in a train crash coming home.
Yeah, right.
It's quite a story. Yeah.
But all the stories that were related in the stories that David was reading, they're just repeated year after year. The one about the liquor story, I got caught in Port Hawkesbury. I got pretty near in trouble over liquor in Port Hawkesbury. I was a station agent relieving there. That'd be about the late 40s, very early 50s. And I helped unload cases of hard liquor, pile that high, from here to the counter long off of the express train. The train left. I had to sign for it. I had to check each box on the paper, make sure I was there. The conductor said, "Now don't take your eyes off it because you're in Cape Breton, and anybody from scale up wasn't to be trusted when there's liquor loose." No, I just say that in joke. But the truck came down to pick up said liquor. He backed up too far, bumped the pile, and over it went on the track and broke most all the cases in the top row.
Try explaining that one.
Try to explain that one. The trucking company wanted me to sign a document that it was broken on arrival, The conductor, when I got him on the Morse code, you'll hear a little bit later, at Port Hood, I think it was. No way, he said. No way. Let the trucker. Okay. So it had to be put in. The trucker had quite a lot of explaining to do with the insurance company. But I was caught in the middle. Just a boost story. Anyway, the Morse code, the Samuel B. Morse code that we're all talking about today and the use in the railway, was quite unique. I think in our midst here, I think perhaps Albro would have to get first prize, would he not? Because Albro, how old were you when you first started Morse code?
12.
Yeah. He was living in the station.
Yeah.
Pugwash? Wallace. So his father was a station agent, so he learned it in the young years and improved. Murray and I were a little different. We learned it later, and we never caught Albro's qualifications. Pardon?
It didn't improve.
No. So generally, that's just a very small touch on railroading.
When I went down east to work the first time, it was terrible. Just come out of the woods, you might say, down here. And they sent me to Mulgrave. And got there at 1 o'clock in the morning, I think, went right to work. Dispatcher would call you and say, "Where's the boat? The boat coming in?" I didn't even know where the boat was. Where was it? I had no idea. So it took me about 3 days before I got up in daylight enough to see the boat coming in. And the busiest place I ever worked was North Sydney.
Yes.
That was before Newfoundland joined.
That's right.
But the Morse code in general, you're asking about, is it used now? I worked in Amherst ticket office in the 50s, middle 50s. And in 56, the Spring Hill mine disaster. I keep repeating this one because I think it's unique.
Good story.
The reporters, newspaper reporters, would be up at the mine all day on a typewriter, taking notes and names or whatever. They'd land down to Station Amherst at 11 o'clock at night with 2 and 3 foolscap length paper, typewritten. And you know they're typing, 2 fingers, and they'd be talking and typing, and you had to make out what they were trying to say. And I sent all of that information on Morse code with the bug that's in the other room onto Moncton. It was repeated and went all over the world. So if the guy said 10 and not 100, well then I would say 10, you know, which would be an error, or I could make an error, and it was the only mode of communication in a sense. There was no teletypes, no nothing, no satellites, no internet, none of this. It was all Morse code. So that was kind of unique. There was a lot of work to it, about 2 hours steady sending.
You said there was 3 lines when you were, what were you telling me?
Well, there's 3 through the short line here.
No, but there's 3-leg telegraph lines going through, and you were listening, and you could hear your calls. And
Oh yes, well it's just like a group of people here. Everybody's thinking out loud in a bit. Each station had its own call, and somebody called you by that call, you could hear it, right, Adrian? I mean, if they said OD, you'd know exactly who they were calling. You up at Oxford Junction.
so where'd you start, Adrian? Or where'd Oxford, I guess?
Yeah, I started in Oxford.
Where'd you go from there?
You know, the first shift I worked was in New Glasgow, the J office.
Be a busy one.
It was busy, but the other fellow had all of it.
2 of you on duty?
Yeah.
At that time?
So that was like a head office in New Glasgow?
It's a relay office for the whole division, the Glasgow division. All the messages went into the J office and were relayed from there to the line stations.
Bill Boyle said the other day, and to be an officer in the Navy, or you had to do 6 words a minute. How fast can you guys go?
I'd say Albert would do 60,
6.
right?
There's a
How
requirement.
fast?
Well,
Anybody here type? How fast is the fast typist? 60? You can go that then.
well, I could get it off the key as fast as they can send it.
Yes.
Relay it.
Yeah.
You look behind
Faster
a
you
little
could
bit.
write
You have
by
to look
hand.
behind a little bit because
That's scribbling,
There's a lot of little dots in every letter.
Well, you didn't hear that though. Oh, like I keep telling you, you don't hear dots and dashes. No, you just hear words, sentences. Just like another language,
Yeah, just
that's
like
all.
someone,
Where's Brett? I heard that.
No, go on, you're supposed to talk to him, though. Go ahead. Are we talking to you?
You're talking about me.
Listen, that key's not working the best, but you can try, Davey.
I can't use that.
So what was the message?
This
Is this one?
No, not to that. Try this key.
What was that message, Bob?
Well, that Adrian's coming in as a...
Oh, that's what it
Just say-
said. Oh, okay.
He's one of us. N. D.
Oh,
You got it? Now listen to it right close. You heard it? You heard it?
take a lot of practice.
That's and.
And you do that real fast.
No.
What year did they stop doing that?
That's fast.
That's and. But those boys can hear it. And. They don't hear any dots and dashes. They hear and.
Do they really? Okay, Murray. How many years did you do this?
38.
38 years.